We're live. Not really.
Got a hot mic?
Yeah, hot
All
mic.
right.
We're live. We can't cut any of this. So don't say what you don't want the world to know.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Sounds, very
sounds-
peaceful and casual.
Sounds casual. The exact opposite of what we told you Friday.
Yeah.
Josh, thanks for coming in, dude.
Yeah.
I
Thanks for having me.
appreciate it. Yeah, man. I'm excited about this conversation because you and I have never met. You came on, signed on when Jim was here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was early on.
Yeah.
And a lot has changed, and we're excited to kind of fill you in on all that stuff too, and get to know you and your business and all that stuff and what you do for the business. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I met Jim actually at BNI. He came to our group and he started talking about MyHome, and I was like, wow, sounds really cool. It's like we really need this. So
Yeah.
there's a real need for what you guys are doing. So I'm excited to hear more about it and actually see the the platform and everything.
Cool, thank you. So Footprints. Did you start the company? Or you work for the company?
No, it's actually a franchise.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's a franchise that
Are you the franchisee?
Yes. Yeah, my wife and I launched the franchise. So we bought in back right in the middle of the pandemic, 2020, and so we bought in. We started had time on our hands, free time on our hands, and we started looking around at businesses, and it's something that we really wanted to do, and so. We found Footprints, and first we were like, flooring. Who cares about flooring? It's it's boring, right? But the more we talked to him, we got to talk with Brian Park, the founder of Footprints, and the more we realized that it's a really cool business model and a great opportunity, and it's really something that was needed in the market. And so, the more we found out about it, the more we loved, and we bought in.
I bet you guys boomed in 2020.
It took off, very quickly.
Yeah.
So we launched that summer. It was like July that summer. And as soon as we launched, man, we were rolling. We had jobs going like the next week. It was
That's
quick.
nuts.
Yeah.
It
was quick.
Normal experience.
No, not at all. And it's really accredited to the model for Footprints. It was just they
So
set
you've
us
been
up.
happy with the franchise?
Yeah, it's been great.
That's
and,
awesome, dude.
The corporate side of it, they've been great. As far as I've looked and talked to other franchisees of different models, and how their corporate supports them and stuff. And what we're getting from Footprints corporate it's unmatched from what I've seen.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
I mean, that's good to know because there's a lot of bad actors out there, just like in the industry, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm glad to hear that the investment was worth it and it's working out, and mainly you're getting what you're paying for in a franchise. That's
exactly.
Great.
Yeah. I mean, as far as being involved in the industry, Brian Park is at the top of it. He's at the top. He knows all the top guys in flooring, all the accreditations in WFA, National Wood Flooring Association. He's on the board. He's there. He knows all the top guys,
shit.
and they're on our chat groups where we get to speak to them, pick their brains about questions we see in the field.
Well, that's a huge differentiator for you guys.
Yeah, it's
and for your
right away we're we already know more than a lot of other contractors out of the gate just because of all the knowledge base that they've built up for us.
Yeah, and that's a huge benefit of the franchise too, which your customers will feel here locally.
Yeah.
When you have a unique situation going on with a type of flooring or maybe a situation you didn't know, you've got access to just basically hundreds of years of flooring experience.
Yeah.
Which people don't understand flooring unless you've dealt with it, and it is a fickle bitch.
Yeah, to put it nicely.
Yeah, right. It is so sensitive to climate, environment. When you're talking real hardwood floor.
Yeah. There's a lot to it, like moisture readings that we have to take and things we have to look out for, and so there's a lot of contractors that don't do a lot of they'll take those steps and make sure. And you see it when you go into somebody's house. You could see the wood floors where they're cupping and there's just damage, and we see it all the time. And customers are coming to us to fix it, and so
that's a shame, dude. Especially because it's one of those things. Unless you've dealt with it, you don't know it's a thing, right? A homeowner, how would a homeowner know that this new house they're building or just bought, it's got hardwood floors in it that are brand new?
Yeah.
That in 2 weeks they're going to start to cup or buckle or wave or look, not smooth because of some sort of moisture underneath that the builders did, or maybe the crawl space is not encapsulated or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
The homeowner's left with nothing.
Yeah. I mean, and just even on remodel, we do a lot of residential remodel. We don't do a whole lot of new builds. So
Nice.
Remodel work, I mean, we go behind contractors all the time who just slap stuff in there, cut corners. And it's just something that just this morning I was dealing with a customer I just met with. I meet with customers every day, and she had a contractor, take her money and was like ready to start the project, and then she's calling him a couple weeks later, like, where are you? And then she sees on the news he filed for bankruptcy. He's out of business. Yeah, and so apparently he did that. Like, he has 5 other customers that were on the line for that, and she couldn't get her money back.
And she's out thousands.
Yeah, and I see stories like that all the time. Just people going with contractors that they think are legit, and
turns out they're not.
Yeah.
What can a homeowner do to know that, hey, this person I'm dealing with is a legitimate company?
I mean, you check their license, right? There's you're supposed to have a home improvement license at least to operate within a certain amount of dollar amounts, right? So make sure they're licensed. You can always check their reviews online. They've got if they've done any amount of business in the past couple of years, they're going to have some online presence, right?
Yep.
Excuse me. They're going to have some online presence. Yeah, we got a cough button in here. Yeah.
Maybe someday.
Yeah. But yeah, there are ways to check their license, make sure they're insured, and and just call around, and you can check their references.
Verify.
And stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for you guys, this is where MyHome can come in, right?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's what I was about to say. That's cool to hear, because what we're doing and what we're trying to do is do that work for the homeowner. So that way they can just know and be guaranteed that whoever they're dealing with on MyHome is going to be the highest quality, because we've done that vetting process.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think there's probably millions of homeowners that potentially could see this that are shopping for floors, right? What's the biggest mistake that you see homeowners make when they're shopping for, let's say, new hardwood floors?
The biggest mistake, I mean, I'd say the biggest mistake with shopping with any floors in period, like, people look for, sometimes they look for like the cheapest price with flooring, and it's really, you get what you pay for with flooring. And so a lot of people want to go with like luxury vinyl a lot of times because it's waterproof. But really, whenever you look at the numbers and you look at the value of your home, putting in hardwood floors is always the best option. Hardwood or like a ceramic tile. So if you invest the money up front, you get like a good product, hardwood, and you put it in your home, you're going to increase the value of your home. You're going to make it easier to sell. It's going to have greater resale value. And if you get it installed correctly, you're not going to have issues. And a lot of times people go with a cheap option, and it ends up costing them more in the end. So
that's interesting.
Yeah.
So a couple of things there I want to dig into. You said if you get it installed correctly, what are the mistakes you see that you come behind other contractors that they make when installing hardwood floors for customers?
I mean, there's common mistakes. There was another customer, speaking of issues we've come across, where I actually went out and quoted this customer and said, hey, here's what we can do. We can install. They wanted to do white oak hardwood throughout their house. Here's what the quote is, and this is what we're looking at. And so they went with a cheaper contractor. And so, but they did choose us to do their tile project. So we did their tile project. Everything went great. And then we came back, and they said, can you come take a look at our hardwood, see what's going on? And I go in. It's been a couple months later. They can't get a hold of the other contractor. He kind of split, but he did install the floors, but he just kind of split and left some loose ends. And I'm like, so the floors are cupped. He didn't acclimate the wood properly. He probably didn't check the moisture. And then he left, like, the stairs are like falling apart. They're just squeaking everywhere. And on top of that, he installed red oak instead of white oak, which is cheaper wood. And
charge them for white oak.
And charge them for white oak, and they didn't know the difference. And I told them, like, look, you got red oak here. It's like, this isn't what you purchased, right? And they can't get a hold of that guy anymore. So.
Oh my God! So it's likely they're gonna have to rip all that up.
Yeah, most likely.
Figure out. I mean, because it's not gonna go down.
No.
Cup.
Yeah, they have to replace those areas. Like, it's just a big section that's got to be replaced in the living room, but it's right in the middle of the house, and you can't just like replace that, and you have to refinish all the connecting hardwood with it to make it look right. So,
yikes, dude! Talk about a disaster.
No, but there are so many highs with flooring, though. Like, we're talking about lows, but there are so many great moments with flooring, like, because we can go in and transform a house really quickly. By redoing the floors, if you do it properly, we can knock it out in a few days, and it really changes the house drastically.
Big time. I think, one thing that resonates with the audience well is tips to avoid.
Yeah.
So it's important that, I think that the horror stories are important for people to know.
Yeah.
It gives them a reason to call you instead of some other guys. But to your point, dude, when we renovated, we had an Airbnb for a little bit. When we renovated that, it was like we were almost done. And I was like, why does it still look like shit? And then you put the floors down. You're like, oh.
Yeah.
Like that's the
little finishing touch on there.
That's when everything starts to come together. You're like, okay, this is going to look sick. It looks great.
Yeah, that just ties it all together. Yeah.
What's y'all's what's the main product you guys sell and install?
I mean, we love doing solid hardwood.
Is that most common?
Yeah. For this region, most common is
really?
hardwood. Yeah.
How do you take care of hardwood floor? I think people are concerned my pets are going to scratch it and all that stuff.
That's the nature of hardwood. If you're living right, you're going to scratch the wood. It's going to get beat up here and there. But the beauty of it is that it lasts over 100 years. It's going to last a long time. You may have a water stain here or there or something that's got to get replaced, but you can always sand and refinish that floor. And if you maintain it right and you just come in and put like a maintenance coat down like every 5 years, put like a screening coat and put a new coat of polyurethane, those floors will last you a long time. And, and like I talked about, resale value, that hardwood's just going to increase the value of your home.
Yeah, dude. It's interesting. I think that's actually what the charm in old hardwood is the character in it.
Yeah. It's just been there for so long.
Yeah, and the wear and tear. It's actually kind of nice.
Yeah.
And then the second most common was probably what, like the luxury vinyl?
Yeah, I'd say luxury vinyls. It's very popular, and it does have its use. Don't get me wrong; it is still a great product.
Yeah.
And people who have kids that are making spills everywhere, and dogs that are that aren't really quite house trained.
Yeah,
they're and they just want to have easy cleanup and not have to worry about having to clean it up as quick as possible. Yeah, luxury vinyl is a great thing for rental properties. Luxury vinyls. I would highly recommend that for rental properties for sure.
Big time.
But yeah, I mean, even if you want to do it in in Brentwood, we do luxury vinyl throughout, like nice homes there as well.
That's crazy.
But they buy like really, they do make really nice luxury vinyl products that look and feel like close to hardwood.
Yeah.
But it's still luxury vinyl, and but yeah, there is a very good need for it, but it still can't beat hardwood.
Yeah, especially dude, the look of hardwood is just something else. And when you're talking like a $2 million home, it's like, I think if I had that type of home, there's nothing else I'd put in besides hardwood floor.
Same here.
Yeah. So what's the stigma in y'all's industry? So I love talking to home service companies because in all different industries, because you talk to roofers and they definitely have a stigma, pressure washers, restoration. What's the flooring industry? What's the big thing you've learned since joining that industry for the past 4 years?
I don't know if we have I'm trying to think if we have a good stigma. I don't really know.
It's certainly not like, I'll tell you this much, roofing has the worst out of all the home services. Like that is well known that there's a roofing company that's on the platform. They're a franchise. They started the franchise by doing a bunch of research, and they looked at every negative review on roofing companies they could find to narrow down and put it into categories. And they found out the top 2 categories of negative reviews from the roofers, and they built the business off of doing the opposite of those.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, wow, that's very cool.
What were the?
I knew you were gonna ask that.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Do you remember?
Sorry, I'll look it up later.
Yeah. People just say they need a quote, they need a new roof, they haven't even looked at it, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I can't remember the exact ones, but I just thought that was super smart because what roofers have to contend with, especially the good ones, is everybody's got their guard up with roofs, right? Because there's bad actors.
Yeah. And you can't. It's hard to go up and inspect their work, right? It's
that's
hard
the
to
thing
see,
too. It's easy to lie.
Yeah.
Which is scary.
Yeah, I mean, with flooring guys, I just think what I've seen from other guys is just that they're unreliable. Like there's a lot of unreliable guys. I mean, you're gonna have that in a lot of contractors, but they just like they'll take a lunch break and then you don't see them for a couple of days. It's like where are they at? But no, and that's why. And that's why we're a little different. Like we show up, we talk to customers, we're communicating every day and sending them updates. So, but yeah, as far as the stigma goes, I'm not sure. I'd have to maybe look into it and see if there's.
Well, that's good. There's no stigma. It's something you guys don't have to fight, dude. One thing I want to make sure we clarify is, I think, tell me if you've experienced this. Sometimes people don't understand that just because you're a franchise doesn't mean you're not local, right? It's like people are like, well, I want to use local business. It's like, yeah, we are.
Yeah.
I live here.
Yeah, exactly.
I put my money into this business.
Yeah.
This is my business.
Yeah.
So I think that's a huge difference there too, is like when you're using a franchise that is trusted and has good quality, you're also supporting a small local business that has resources of a large business. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds to me.
Exactly.
By using a franchise, especially one that they know and trust, right?
Yeah. And by the way, the same people who say that go get coffee at Starbucks, right?
Yeah.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to shop local except for when it comes to my coffee. Dude, I got a question, and this is, so we were driving from Ocean Isle, North Carolina.
Okay.
On, I can't remember which highway. Doesn't matter. And in a 10-mile span, the largest buildings I've ever seen in my entire life was 3 different competitors that were global flooring distribution companies. Why is that normal? Like, these buildings were the biggest buildings I've ever seen in my entire life. Is there like one distributor or one supplier you guys buy from?
No, there's not. But there are like pockets, like over in North Carolina, outside of Charlotte. Loba, I believe, has a really big warehouse there. Yeah. But yeah, you have the I don't know why they have those pockets there. I don't know the history of it, but yeah, it's there. And then like in North Georgia, it's a huge flooring like mecca there as well. So I'm not sure why those areas were chosen, but yeah, like Atlanta and North Georgia's massive for flooring.
And that's probably where we drove through, and it popped out of nowhere. It was just in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then you have, like, I'm not kidding you, probably 1 million square foot plus warehouse of just like flooring.
Yeah.
You're like, what in the world is going on here? Is it flooring?
Yeah.
How do I own that business?
Yeah, I know.
You know?
And a lot of hardwood that we, like the solid hardwood comes out of like Missouri too. There's a lot of like, so the opposite side, but all the other like pre-finished and stuff like that, like factory finished stuff comes out of there. Yeah. So
right on. So if you get anything like, can people get like unique, like specialized finished, like choice stuff, or is it basically all like kind of factory finish? You got a ton of choices, but it's all standard choices.
Yeah, pretty standard for like factory finish and pre-finished stuff. We've had people bring in like reclaimed wood and stuff like that sometimes, which can get kind of tricky, but for the most part, people will just pick like the standard stuff.
You do any commercial work?
Yeah, we do light commercial work, so like small office buildings. Gotcha. We've done some like dental suites and stuff like that. Yeah, we do like small commercial. I actually did a big project for the airport one time.
Oh, nice.
I'll never do it again. I'll tell you that. I'll never do it again. Yeah.
Why is that?
You're dealing with the airport, right? So right away, security is a nightmare. So trying to get clearance and then trying to get your crews in and get clearance for them, you have to escort them the whole time. All the work's being done overnight. I mean, it was a big project. Don't get me wrong. I'm thankful that we got the project. It was and everything went great. Yeah, it was great. Everything went smooth, but it was like it was a tough month-long commercial project we did, and we're mostly set up for residential work, and I've got my employees, we got our crews, we work during the day, and we're great and we can knock out residential projects and do great work. But like when we get to commercial and we're having to go do all these security check-ins, and you have to get all these safety protocols, and you don't have like running water, you have to get water for like we're doing a big tile project. So, and then you have to, dispose of your wastewater. It just turns into a big, we're not really equipped for that.
Right.
But, and I was there working all throughout the day running the business, and then going there at night and working all night with my guys. And so we got through it, and I'm proud of that project because it turned out great, and it's a great floor. But
which floor is it in the airport?
As you go to the airport, you know where the Chick-fil-A is in the airport, that huge food, all that tile floor we did.
Y'all did that?
Yeah, and we had to do it in like different sections because they would not shut Chick-fil-A down at all, because that's their biggest earner for the airport is like Chick-fil-A. They make so much money off of that Chick-fil-A, so you can't shut down Chick-fil-A. And so they had like a small window of time in the middle of the night where we can only do tile there in front of Chick-fil-A, and we had to like grout it really quickly. Speed set, it was
because they were walking on it the next day.
Yeah, people were lining up. They open at like 4 or 5 in the morning. People were lining up at like 4 before they open, and there was a huge line. People just ready to eat Chick-fil-A before they get on their flight.
Dude.
Yeah. So we had to like have it ready and out. Yeah, it was.
Did they line you up on Sunday? I mean, you should have just worked on Sunday.
Yeah. Well, we ended up finishing that right in front of the counter area on Sunday night, like Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that was it was an experience. Yeah, I'll say that.
Dude, that's why when we were in restoration, not that I would have said no, because it's very hard to say no, especially early on. But the commercial work is the same thing with us. You have to work all night, and if you're not really set up or equipped for that, then your guys the next day can't do anything, and then you're kind of turning away residential work, which is kind of your bread and butter. Yeah, so we went through that too. I feel you. It was, like I said, sometimes it's so good you have to figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
but if you were doing that regularly, you have to like set up a different division of your company almost for commercial work. And
Yeah.
so, but like light commercial work, like doing office building stuff, we can do like in a couple of days. That's no problem.
Yeah, exactly. Damn, a month-long project. That's insane.
Yeah.
What's the you got any like crazy stories? What's the, either crazy customers or worst job or worst thing you had to come behind another contractor? Craziest request from a customer? Anything like that might be unique?
Yeah, there's a lot of that. I'll throw one out that comes to mind. It was a client who was doing LVP, and she was doing it throughout her house, and she picked out a product. Like, we don't really sell that much product. We let customers go buy their own product from wherever they want to buy it, because you can buy flooring pretty much anywhere, right? You can go to Costco and buy luxury vinyl, right? Yeah. And so we don't have the overhead. We're not buying a big showroom and bringing customers in. We got a few samples we'll show them, but most of the time we're sending them to these big box stores with the big showrooms,
Save
right?
them some money too.
Yeah, exactly. They save some money there. They get a great install at a good price. But this client, I gave her a shopping list. Hey, go pick out whatever flooring you want, and then we'll install it. And she picked out the flooring, had it there, and my guys got there. We started installing, and then she comes in and she's like, "Oh, what are you guys doing? I don't like those planks and that plank and that plank." And we're like, this is your flooring. And she's like, "No, I thought you guys were going to be separating out the planks that I didn't like." We're like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "You added 10% extra on my shopping list for that." I'm like, "No, that's just for cuts and stuff. We add 10% on the square footage just for cuts and waste, right?"
Absolutely.
And she thought it meant like we were going to go through and pick out all the best planks for her, and we're like, "No." And so she's throwing a fit, and we're trying to stay calm we at first we were like, okay, whatever planks, let's go back and pull them out. I was like, but you need to go through all your boxes and set aside whatever planks you don't want.
Yeah, because we can't guess.
And she wouldn't do it. She didn't do it. And we're like, okay, we're going to keep installing. And then she came back and she kept getting mad. And she started ripping up the floors herself. And we're like, all right, we're leaving. We're out.
Yeah,
that's it. And then
losses.
She called us back the next day, and she's like, okay, let's just do it. And we went back in. She calmed down, and we got it done. But she accepted that it wasn't, what she thought it was. She had a little bit
of a moment.
Yeah, she had a moment, and like, and she was like complaining about how certain planks looked, and I pulled it up on the website, and I was like, look, it shows you right here on the website that plank is in the floor,
right?
Like on the, they show you like the sample photos of it, and it's like it's there, and so you have to kind of let people calm down, and I know it's a big deal for people. It's
it's a floor,
exactly right, but they got to be realistic sometimes too.
Yeah, dude, and like the other side of that is, in that situation, I've been there, and I'll just speak for myself on that one. Is like you're sitting there telling them like, no, this is normal. This is how this happens. If you hired any company, this is what would happen. This is just how these are installed, and their guard is up so much that they just automatically think that you're lying.
Yeah.
And you're like, you can ask any flooring company in the world. We're not going to go through and guess which planks you like. That's just not how this works.
Yeah.
And it sounds like she kind of would realize that. That's good. But, yeah, I've dealt with customers like that, too.
Did you ever go into one where you dealt with, like, a former contractor, like an old-timer who was a former contractor?
Yes.
He's just grilling you about all that? Yeah,
Dude.
I've done that a few times. It feels like you're on trial for a crime you didn't commit, It's like,
he's, like, vetting you.
Yeah, it's like asking you all these technical questions, like, what's your grit sequence? Like, do you really care? Or you just...
do you want to do this? Or do you want me to do it?
Yeah. Those are good. They try to see if they can break you. know. Those are good ones.
The other good ones are like the lawyers. Have you ever done work for a lawyer?
Yeah.
That's
you could sense it. You can sense it when you start talking to them.
Yeah. They're just like, let me see that contract.
Yeah.
It was like, dude.
they start picking apart all the boilerplate of your contract. Yeah. Had that a few times.
Like, oh my gosh. So you started in 2020 during COVID. How was that?
Well, I was working at GE. I was at General Electric for about 10 years, and like had a good career there, and like I was happy with the career, and but at a certain point, I knew I wanted to do my own thing, but I just never had the time to like sit down and look at it and find something. Yeah. And then the pandemic hit like in like March that year of 2020, and then my wife and I were just kind of working from home, but I was working at GE Healthcare, so I was still going out and working. I was considered like essential because I had to go work on equipment and stuff. But I was, we did have more time at home, and we started looking at businesses, and it gave us the time to actually, think about things, and we made that decision. And as soon as we launched, like I said, we didn't look back. Yeah. And it was a risk, like, starting any business is a risk, but like starting a franchise business is like running a business with training wheels, which was great for us. But I wanted to make sure when I started, I wanted to hit the ground running. So I did all the research I could and learned as much as I could before we launched. And like I said, as soon as we launched, we were selling work.
Yeah, man. Yeah. What to the future entrepreneurs out there who are about to make that decision, how did you first start getting customers? Did you do the networking stuff? Were you paying for ads? How did that work?
Yeah, in the beginning, it was paying for ads. I wish I would have done networking sooner. It was, I just started doing the networking thing a couple years ago, and I wish I would have started in the beginning. But yeah, I was paying a lot of ads, paying for like, we did a lot with Angie, and man, they charge a lot, and it's very competitive on there. And so that was tough, but we were, we did get a lot of leads that we were converting, but yeah, it took a little while to control that.
Yeah, and now you're in BNI groups and stuff like that.
Yeah. So BNI, and we do. My BNI group is awesome. Like I said, they get a lot of work from there, and also it's just a resource where I get to pull other contractors in for other stuff that help out customers. So
what group are you in?
West End.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Okay, good deal. I'll have to come visit that, dude. I'll be a visitor for you.
Yeah, if you want to come in. Yeah, please. I'd love
that.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. Any kind of before we wrap it up, is there any home maintenance, floor maintenance tip for the homeowner that you guys see when you go into houses where you're like, oh, damn, if they would have just done X, Y, and Z, this wouldn't be a problem right now?
Yeah, PSA for anyone with hardwood floors, do not put any like oil or wax products on your hardwood floors, because if you want to put like that maintenance, polyurethane coat, and you can't do that with that oil and wax on there, it just doesn't adhere. So like, I was talking about every 5 years you can come in and buff that floor and put a new coat of polyurethane. If they use like that's that mopping glow stuff or anything like that, that's not good. Just use like a normal, like Bona makes a good floor mop, a Loba makes a good floor cleaner. Use those products that are made just to clean the hardwood floor. Don't put anything with like an oil or a wax, because we go in all the time if people just want to get their floors refreshed, and we're like, well, you're using this oil product. We can see a little wax build up on the floor. It's not going to happen. All right.
Oh my God.
So yeah, it's a full sand and finish. Yeah.
Instead of just a quick clean.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, let's end it there, because that is perfect advice for the people that just got floors installed and want to make sure they're maintaining it correctly to save them some money. So, Josh, dude, pleasure meeting you.
Yeah, nice meeting you too, Gabe. Thank you.